Namo Shakyamuni Buddha. So today we continue to discuss about the right intention. And last time we discussed about the four sublime state of mind, including loving kindness, compassion, appreciative, joys, and the last one, equanimity. So let me share the screen with you. And here we discuss about equanimities in the sense that we wish our mind to be calm with the steady, still, and calm mind. So we get the demand in the acceptance of this present moment. And also when we spread out this equanimity toward all people, we consider everyone as equal, no more, no less. Of course, in life, we have to deal with all kinds of problems, what we call in Buddhism the 8 worldly winds, pleasure and pains, praise and blames, gain and loss, fame and ill reputation, and so forth. So our mind always swing back and forth among these things, and also it swing back and forth between like, dislike, good, bad, and so forth. So somehow we are out balance when we swing to one pole and others. So it's not easy for us to remain calm, to remain peaceful. And so there's no way for us to develop the equanimities. So according to the definition and the Buddhist views of equanimities, it is a attitude that we regard every sentient beings as equal, regardless of who they are, regardless of how we relate to them. That wholesome attitude can transform the attachment and the aversion, that's mean hatred. I put it this way. So in our daily life, we have the tendency to attach to our lovely one, like our spouse, our parents, our children, our sibling, and our close friends. And if we live far away from them, we miss them pretty much. And on the other hand, we don't want to see anyone that we call or label as enemies, the one that we have so much hatred toward them. So we don't want to keep them in the mind. We don't want to see them. We don't want to interact with them. So those are the two poles that we swing our mind back and forth between like and dislike, attachment and aversion. But for these equanimities, we need to remain neutral. So that's why here it give an example, like a grown-up son settled out with his own families. He began to live an independent life with his own responsibilities. So even though his mother still have feeling of loving kindness, compassion, and appreciation, joy toward him. So you need to develop this kind of feeling, the feeling of equanimity after the recognition of his new independence and responsible position in life. So instead of clinging or attaching to the son or the children, the parents need to recognize as they need to stand up for themselves independently. They need to have some sort of responsibilities in life. So with that kind of understanding, it's much easy for the parents to let go of their own children, to have their own life. Otherwise, if they think the children's the products of their life, or part of their lives, so they could not live apart from their own children, and vice versa. And so that's why this kind of attitude, the equanimity attitudes that should not only cover to the intermediate families, like the children, parents, spouse, siblings, and so forth. It's also expanding to the other sentient beings. So in order to do that, we need to recognize and understand about the law of karma, how we relate to other people. That's why as much as we recognize that this lifetime is not the only lifetime we have here. We have numerous past lives. So each lifetimes in the past, we would have parents, spouse, siblings, relatives, and friends. And when we finish up in one life, we move on to others. Again, we will have parents, spouse, siblings, close friends, and so forth. So during this countless past life, we have encountered with all kinds of sentient beings that were our parents, our siblings, our spouse, our relatives, and close friends. So that's why in Buddhism, the Buddha advised us that we need to contemplate all the male as our fathers and brothers, and all the mothers or women as our mothers and sisters. So wherever we go, we recognize that they are our close parents, or even our close friends. Of course, they probably were our spouse, our children, our relatives in the past. So there's no stranger in our life if we have that kind of attitude or mind setting. So with that kind of understanding of views, it's much easier for us to extend our arms to other people, regardless of our position and regardless of who they are, whether they come from different countries, different race, different gender, and so forth. So with that understanding, it's easy for us to spread the equanimity toward other people. So that's why here they talk about two insights needed for equanimity. Again, the karma. That means we have undergo all kind of action in our thought, words, and deed that we perform in this lifetime and the past, we know that whichever things we have done that would affect to this present life, and whoever we have interacted with in the past, we will have some kind of connection in the present moment and in the future. Another one is that no self. That's mean in the timeless circle of the birth. So we revolve from this life to another's, and in Buddhist we call the five aggregates. That includes the forms. That means physical form, the feeling, the perception, the mental formation. That's mean the habitual patterns in our mind. And the last one is consciousness. So if we observe carefully, there's no self at all. But of course, as human beings, a common people, we still have some sort of attachment. And that's why we see ourselves as a real person physically, and we attach to our thinking mentally, and we have all sort of attachment to this ego, the self. That's why we discriminate ourselves and others. But if we recognize there's no real self except our pure nature, our wisdom nature, we would accept other people much easy. So that's why here in psychology, and we know that this two different modes. One is dual mode and one is bin mode. Dual, that means, let's say, mainly we have verbal activities, we have bodily activities, we have thoughtful activities in our mind. We always focus on the past and future. We always focus on the goal that we want to achieve to. That's why we have the sense of craving, and that's because of our attachment to the personal views, self-oriented views. We consider ourselves as essential of the universe with that kind of firm beliefs that we would not care much about others. The only one that follows us, we consider them as friends. The one that go against us or have some conflict, argument with us, we may not consider them as friends, but enemies. And so that's why our minds always fluctuated. There's no balance in our mind. So that's why if we put in practice that bring ourselves at peace, if the now focus instead of past and present focus, we need to let go of that self-attachment, ego, arrogance, and we would utilize the attitude of non-judgmental with the mindful presence. So at that moment, we have some sort of balance in our mind, and as well as some kind of relaxation. So if we have that balance, if we have that focus, if we have the sense of body and mind as a whole, we will see the, and feel in the whole bodies and mind. We engage in the non-judgmental views, and we would have that type of direct connection with other people. So with that kind of mm, uh, practice, we could have that type of balance in our mind. That means we're not reacting to the fleeting experience, whether it's good or bad, whether it's friends, enemies, whether someone praises us or scores. We try to remain calm and balanced, and with that steadiness, we would sustain, we would overcome all kind of difficulties. We will sustain our mind and our life through all circumstances or situations. Uh, as much as we engage in the present moment, uh, we would not drag, we would not discriminate. So that's what we call the equanimity. And of course, it starts with the mind. Understanding and intention of our mind, we remain that kind of um, calm situation, calm thought, and with that steadiness of the mind, we remain calm there. And when we deal with any kind of experience, we would see things in the last scale instead of seeing only one in the corners. And definitely we have kind of calmness and contentment, and that's produce the equal mind, the steady mind, the balanced mind, and of course the continuity mind. So again, without the calmness, the peacefulness, and the steadiness of the mind, there's no way for us to treat other people equally. It's impossible. So that's why we need to start with ourselves by practicing meditations. And like last time, we talked about um, the breath meditation. That's we anchor our mind on the breath instead of letting the mind flow here and there, past and future, good and bad, um, and so forth. So, like the boat have the anchors, it would not be blown away by the winds or by the waves of waters because of the anchors holding it back. So there's our mind. If we focus our mind on the breath and we use breath as the anchors, so we bring back the present moment to our breath, and we live with that present moment. As much as we understand, recognize the breath coming and out of body naturally without any kind of manipulation of our breaths, we can be observer. We can watch the breath come in and out of our body naturally. So eventually, I might be calmed down instead of follow in the normal uh, reactions of our minds. That means, let's say, if someone scores, most of the time we react right away, that we may score them back or hit them back. But now, with the present moment that we focus on the breath, we would recognize the word of other people, whether they praise us or score us. We recognize the sound, and we would remain calm. With that kind of calmness, we would observe our feeling, and we would uh, uh, contemplate why the person praises, why the person scores. And with the deep contemplation, we may later on find out that yes, the reason why that person praises because we have done something properly, and vice versa. And the reason why they score us probably that we may have done something wrong. And of course, we may encounter some situation that other people praise us because of their uh, bad intention, negative intention. They want to harm us, but outwardly they praise us so that we could do more mistake, to have downfall on our side, so that they can be winner later on. When we heard that they scores, probably because of their good intention, to remind us that we not supposed to engage in a kind of wrongdoing. So anyway, with that kind of deep concentration, deep contemplation, we recognize the reason and intention behind the present and scoring. And due to that kind of calmness and peacefulness, we would have that kind of recognition. Otherwise, there's no way for us to recognize. So that's why when our mind become still, calm, and peaceful, uh, at that time, we would see things as the way they are. We would not be pulled away by the external sound, by other people's activities. We would not have much judgment, bias, uh, prejudice toward other people. And of course, it's much easier for us to develop that type of equanimity toward other people. So, in a sense, without the practice of meditation, without remain calm, without bringing the mind to the neutral ground, instead of swinging back and forth between like or dislike, between love and aversions, good or bad, and so forth. Um, it's not easy for us to develop the equanimity uh, in practical sense. So that's why it's so important that we need to train our mind first. That's why later on we talk more about the mindfulness of the mind, how to deal with our mind, how to bring our mind back in the neutral ground, in this stillness, uh, in the calmness position. So in this equanimity meditation, the Buddha reminds us that yes, we can choose a person uh, of our gender. We can develop loving kindness, compassion, and appreciative joy meditation. And with that way, we can attain to even up to the third jhana, or meditative state of mind. Uh, and we can reflect on the disadvantage of others, like closeness to affection. That's mean attachment to someone else or something else, like, dislike, like just mentioned about our two poles, between back and forth, between like and dislike. That's why we are out of balance. Um, uh, Sadness and joyfulness. It's like the boat. While we riding or sailing on the boat, if the boats are in balance, we could sail safely. If we stand one side, left side, or stand right side, and so forth, it's easy for the boat to be capsized. So that's why we need to remain in the middle to sail the boat safely. So there is the mind. So if we remain calm, if we remain still, it's easy for us to treat other people with equal right, with equal views. instead of swinging my back and forth with like a dislike. So again, we develop our equanimity meditation toward other people. The first one is the neutral people, with the thought that this good person is heir to his own karma. So we will contemplate about this sentence, and we may develop this equanimity toward other people to break down the barriers. So before I move on for this, let's review and recognize how close we are in our global connection. Let me share with you here, especially now. Now this is the statistic that they established in July of 2018. So total number of active social media users about 3.5 billion people, and active social media users a percentage of total population, 46% of people around the world have some sort of connection with each other through social media. And total number of active social users of accessing via mobile device, like cell phone, smartphone, iPhone, about 3.4 billion people. And active mobile social users are percentage of total population 45%. So that is in July 2019. That, more than a year ago, and we see that let's see here, we have all kind of connection with each other through Facebook, YouTube, WhatsApp, Instagram, and so forth. And that's why we need to recognize that now somehow, because of social media, we go beyond the boundaries of the country or the nations, and even we don't have a chance to move around much during this pandemic, but at least we can connect with other people everywhere as much as they have the device through YouTube, Facebook, and so forth. And of course, after World War II, we have the United Nations. I try to unite all people around the world so that we can resolve the problems regardless of the political stand, differences, and so forth. Eventually, we can see that the earth is our house, and people around the world, wherever they live, we have some sort of connection with them. And we know that now, Elon Musk, he have the visions to put 12,000 satellites to create a network of Starlink that can link everyone on Earth together with the internet 40 times faster than present moment. So everywhere around the world, people live, whether they live in Africa, in Vietnam, in Amazon forest, and so forth. We have the connection through the device, through the Starlink, and people come together. Even in education now, the Microsoft Educator Center, they hook up people or students around the world to come to learn and share ideas, information each other. So the reason why I mentioned this is because again, now due to the social medias, due to the internet connections, um, uh, even we may not travel much, but at least we have these tools, a device, equipment to connect each other. So it go beyond the boundaries of the nation. It go beyond the boundaries of the country now. So that's why it's the need for us to develop the equanimity in our mind, uh, mm, especially in the level of communities. Uh, Whenever we go out, we see all kind of people that interact with us. So they come from different backgrounds, different religious traditions, different attitude, different race, gender, age, and so forth. And if we just pick and choose certain type of people, so we uh, put ourselves in the box that we limit ourselves. So in reality, we need to interact with all kind of peoples in our daily lives, in that local levels, in the societal levels. Again, especially this country, United States, that's the melting pots. That's most people around the world came to this country to have American dreams. So that's why it's better for us to open our mind, to open our arms and views to uh, uh, interact with other people in the compassionate way, in the loving kindness way, and of course, based on this equanimity attitude. So that's why here again the Buddha has reminded us that we need to spread that type of equanimities to a person that we respect and love, like our parents, our elders, our spouse. So of course, much easier for us to develop that type of equanimities. But sometimes it's be challenging too. So sometimes we love our mother than our fathers and vice versa. Sometimes we may love our brothers and then our sister and so forth. So that's normal. But still, at least in the families, whichever can happen, uh, it's better for us to have that attitude, the equanimity attitude toward any members of our families. Uh, and the next one, the neutral person, that means the stranger, the one that we don't know of, the one that we meet on the street uh, coincidentally. Uh, so, and the last one, the person that we may not like. We may have aversion, we may have hatred toward a person. So with this type of people, the one that we love, the one that we attach, the one that we consider as neutral, the one that we don't like, the Buddha teaches us that we need to invoke our thoughts that this good person is heir to his own karmas. We have to develop that type of thought equally, so that we can bring forth the compassionate mind toward them when they need help. And here, like other uh, sublime state of mind that we discussed previously, we have five unsatisfied categories or beings or brothers or creatures or people or possessing individuality, and 7 specified categories or woman or man or nobles one or who are not nobles or devils in celestial beings or human beings and all low or beings in the lower realms. So not only we spread our equanimities toward our family members, to our friends, to our community's people, to the people in our nation or society, and to the people around the clubs around the world, because now we have that connection with internet, with social medias. So we know what happened uh, in Middle East and Africa instantly when things pop up in YouTube, on Facebook, and so forth. So we eventually get to know each other much quicker, and that is bring us together with those devices. And so with that kind of understanding, it's much easier for us to develop this type of equanimities uh, toward them in easy way, in the comfortable way. Of course, for other people, I mean that if we don't know, if we have not met them before, it's not easy for us to develop this kind of equanimities. So let's, before move on, let me show you these video clips, how to treat everyone equally. Okay, here you see that the theme is that treat people the way that we want to be treated. Everyone wants to be treated equally. And here we see that everyone has the right to live, the right to work, the right to enjoy freedom and happiness everywhere, not in the United States, but any country, any place around the world. So with that in mind, again, um, the Buddha implements this kind of principle so that at least we can develop this attitude toward other people, so that we can bring the peacefulness and happiness for ourselves and others. And that's why here in the 5 unspecified categories, the Buddha teaches us that we need to invoke the mind that may all beings recognize that they are heir to their karma or predators add to their karma, or creatures add to their karmas, or people add to their karmas, or possessing individuality add to their karma. And for the seven specific categories, or women add to their karma, or men add to their karma, or noble ones add to their karma, or who are not noble ones add to their karmas, or devils add to their karmas, or human beings add to their karmas, or in low realms add to their karmas again. So if we could contemplate and recognize that everyone else is heir to our own karmas, so it's easy for us to treat each other equally. So the difference in the forms, I mean, the physical forms, their body, where we born, how we was raised up, and so forth, depend upon our karmas. But we live in this kind of web of lives. So everyone want to be happy. No one want to be sad or suffer. Everyone want to have peace. No one want to have violent things happen to them. So that's why the theme is to remember is that we need to treat everyone as the way we want to be treated. We want to treat everyone in equal right, and not only all type of people or sentient beings. We again expand our mind to 10 directions: north, south, east, west, southeast, southwest, northeast, northwest, up and down. So that with this kind of discipline, state of mind, we can treat everyone, even every sentient beings, equally. And that's why, especially in the Mahayana Buddhist traditions, at the Buddhist centers, we would not consume any meat, any animal products, because we respect their life. Those poor animals, they don't have strength, they may not speak human language, they may not have ability to communicate with us, but they still want to live. They don't want to die. No animals dare to give their head for us to chop up. But somehow we think that we are the kingdom of animals. That's why somehow we abuse, manipulate our power to capture and consume their flesh. And that's why in Mahayana Buddhist traditions, due to that type of understanding and respect, we would not consume any flesh of animals. And on the top of that, we always advocate non-violence, and of course equanimity too. Regardless of situation, we don't try to instigate any kind of violent act. But we try our best to remain calm and peaceful. With that kind of calmness and peacefulness, it's much easier for us to treat everyone equally. Like I mentioned recently, that with our training, there's no way for us to remain calm, to treat other people equally, because if we let our mind swing back and forth between like or dislike, between attachment and aversion, there's no way for us to have the balance in our mind. So there's no way for us to remain calm and see all people in equal right, in equal way. So only when we can have the practice of meditation, when we anchor our mind down, when we remain in neutral with our breath, and it's much easier for us to remain neutral with our feeling, sensation, with what's going on in our mind. It's easier for us to remain neutral when we interact with other people. So again, everything starts from the mind, and it needs to have mind training to have that kind of sublime state of mind, the equanimity. So since time is up, I'd like to stop here today, and we will discuss further next time. Namo Shakyamuni Buddha. See you then.